Hi everybody, Marcy here, and today I'm going to show you what I'm working on for the Spring Stashbuster Junk Journal Challenge. In that main challenge, there are many challenges, and what I'm working on today is collage papers for mini challenge in the challenge number 4. The Spring Stashbuster Junk Journal Challenge is hosted by DearJulieJulie and Cara Brandon. I'll have links to their YouTube channels below. And as you can see, I've taken scraps of paper. Most of it is scrapbook cardstock that I've used or tried to use for other things. And these are leftovers, and the challenge was to use up some of your leftover stuff, make collaged items. So what I've done is I've made 6 sheets of collage, and as you can, I did some basket weave, and then I kind of got into some patchwork stuff, and then this one I just tore the edges around all the papers and started laying them down. This one is probably the most mixed bag. Well, no, it is the most mixed bag. But I'm not worried about that because I would not necessarily use this as it is, although I might. But I'm going to do some things that will make them a little more usable for me. These, for me, for my style, are a little brighter than... I did use these papers in a junk journal, but for the most part, they're a little too bright and in your face for what I would want. But I've got some ideas. Anyway, so what I want to do is, now that I've got these done, I want to cut them out. And I've got a banner punch, a tag punch, a triangle punch to make like pennant banners. And what I'm going to do is go through and punch things out. Basically, even though this is stash busting, I'm actually going to be building my stash. So, let's see, for these two, the paper can be 2.5 inches wide. So I'm just going to cut that. Better leave that out. Put it in here. Punch it. And then let's see. We'll make this one a big banner. And I'll make another short banner. Okay. And that, to start with, is what I'm going to do with all of these papers. I'm not going to have you sit here and watch me punch out all of these papers. I plan to have the banners, the tags, the little triangles for pennant type banners. Some of them I may leave large enough to be pockets and or journaling cards. And I may actually pull out some of my cutting dies and cut a few of them out. But that's all I'm going to do at this point is make a bunch of shapes. And then I'll come back and show you what I'm going to do next. Okay, I'm back and I've cut out several things. I've got tags. I've got a little flower here. I've got a little card here. I've got a circle here. I thought some of these might make cute tuck spots. A couple of hearts. Another one of those. More tags. Thought this might make either a cute pocket or a little pocket or journaling card. Most of what I cut out is tags. More tags. Again, journaling cards. That one I thought might be able to be used like as a belly band. Another circle. We've got banners, other little cards. And part of the reason I cut so many cards is some of these, once I began cutting them, I actually kind of like them and won't want to mess with a whole lot. These two I left larger because I thought they might be good. I'm not even sure of what the terminology is, but like tip-ins, I think is what it's called. So I left those the way they were. And then these I used used my cutting dies, and they'll make cards or pockets. More of that. I've got a couple of ovals and another heart. Where did the rest of my banners go? I'm not sure where they went. I had several little banners. Okay, but I'm not going to hold things up. So, the next thing I want to do, and especially to these, the ones that I had done on coffee dyed papers, so they're already somewhat knocked back, like that. For me, I really kind of like that. I like the way that looks. So some of these I probably won't change a whole lot. That one I might do a little something with. That one I really like though. So, I mean, and it's all individual taste. So, one of the first things I'm going to do is, and I'm going to show you how I do it using one of the brighter ones, because those are ones that I would definitely want knocked back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of my white gesso. This is some gesso that I had accidentally picked up. It's not what I intended to get, and it's Artist Loft white acrylic gesso. Not necessarily what I would recommend, especially if you need full coverage. Now in this case where I don't necessarily need full coverage, and don't necessarily want full coverage, but just kind of want to use it as a knockback, it works just fine. Okay, but to the white gesso, because again, I don't want stark white. So, I'm actually going to take a little bit of coffee, and I've just got a little bit in a pipette. I'm going to start with 5 drops. No, it's not enough. Okay, now we're getting a little somewhere. Alright, so you can see how that has colored my gesso so it's no longer a stark white, which is what I want for what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take some. Now you will probably see I will be using my fingers a good bit. Alright. And the reason I use my fingers is the brush strokes are fine, but I want some variegation, and the brush strokes, while it gives me brush strokes, it tends to be a little more even, and it just looks like brush strokes. Paper towel isn't going to work. I need something. Okay. So as you can see, that compared to, let me find, that has pushed the color back a good bit. Now I can keep adding gesso, whatever I want to do. I'm going to do that to a couple of more. So you can add gesso to knock it back just as far as you want to. And like I said, could have used white gesso and that would be perfectly fine. I just wanted a little more, I guess, age to the paper. And likewise, I could have started with just my distress inks, but I'd rather it have a, since the distress inks can be reactivated, I wanted something a little more permanent to go down to start with. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry, and then I probably actually will add one more coat to both of those. And after that's done, I will come back and finish off these two things. Okay, I'm back, and my stuff is pretty dry. On the tag, I used 3 coats of the acrylic Artist Loft gesso. Now, bear in mind, I said Not my favorite gesso at all. Bought it accidentally, thought I was getting something else, but basically reached down and grabbed the wrong thing. But I'm determined to use it. In the third coat, I actually added a little more coffee to give it a little more tint. And that's another coverage issue, is I did water it down with coffee. So that has 3 coats, that has 2 coats, that has 1 coat, and that has none. So I've managed to knock back the brightness of the color by a fair amount. Okay, so the only one I'm going to finish right now is this one, and now that I've got that done, I've got a little piece of foam board here. I've used it for poking stuff. It's sort of a multi-purpose board, but I also like sometimes stamping on it. Seems to do a little better sometimes than stamping on a hard surface. And I've just got a stamp here. I'm actually, for my archival ink here, I'm going to be using, is it Archival Coffee? Because again, I don't want either stark white or stark black. And all I've got is this little ink pad, so let me get it. Good and stamped, and this stamp is too big for the tag, and so I picked this block specifically because it is about the size of the tag and will let me see where I want to be. Okay. And now I'm going to do the same thing. I've got a smaller stamp with a little butterfly on it. And I'm just going to put the butterfly right there. All right. Now I'm going to take a little bit of Distress ink. I'm going to use some walnut stain. And go around the edges. Sorry if I get out of frame. I do that sometimes because it's easier for me to see. All right. And that's actually all I'm going to do to that tag. You could continue embellishing it, but that's all I'm going to do to this one for now. So I managed to take these bright colors and knock them way back and kind of age the whole thing so that now I've still got the color, but it's not as in my face as this. And this worked great for the journal I used it for, and I was very happy with it. But for most of my stuff, I wouldn't use something this bright. And so without it, as part of the Stash Buster thing and all the collaging, I was able to use up the scraps of this and still get something I can use in another journal that is more along the lines of what I might otherwise do. And out of those 6 collage sheets that I did, I managed to get 2 potential tip-ins, 3 belly bands or bookmarks, I haven't decided yet, 8 pockets or journaling cards, depending on how I choose to use them, 14 tags, 2 labels, sorry, I'm trying to read from a list, 3 hearts, 1 flower, 2 circles, 2 ovals, 4 banners, and 3 labels. So, oh, and I still have some edges left. I didn't cut out any of the triangles to use as like streamer banners, but I've still got some little edges left that I can do that with. Anyway, that's what I've done with my collage sheets that I made for the mini challenge and the challenge 4. Didn't exactly, it busted my stash in that I used up those scraps of paper, but now I've got new stuff in a new stash. But that's okay. Some of these I really like. That one I probably wouldn't change much at all. I might distress the edges a little bit, add a little distress ink or something. But I actually really like that one. And it just came from playing with the collage. Others, I can modify and knock them back, turn them into what I want them to be, but still have the design, the collage-y design behind it. So anyway, that's it. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.